Thank you for the happiest year of my life.
You know that health is wealth and ital is vital. They're not just some rhyming words. It's something that's just got to be heard. Who is responsible for your health? Look in the mirror, it's your very own self. You can't rely on nobody else.
Your health is your wealth. Hey, hey. It keeps you alive. Your health is your wealth. No one can deny. It keeps you alive. Your health is your wealth. Hey, hey. It keeps you alive. Our health is our wealth. It keeps us up. As one. Oh, 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 oh. 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 Your health is your wealth. No one can deny it. It keeps you alive. Hey, hey. Your health is your wealth. It keeps you alive. Your health is your wealth. No one can debate. It keeps you alive. Our health is our wealth. It keeps us surviving. There is one. Your health is your wealth. Hey, hey. It keeps you alive. Your health is your wealth. No one can deny. It keeps you alive. Your health is your wealth.
Okay, yes, good afternoon. The time is 2 minutes gone past the hour of 2 right here at Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. Yes, and welcome to your wonderful program, Health is Wealth, which is called Health Plus right here at Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. My name is omoluwabi, and I'm going to be your wonderful host for today right here on Health Plus at Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. But before I go right into the program, yes, I have a quote for you that says, cooking is like love. It should be entered into with abandon and not at all. It should be entered into. You should love what you cook. Okay, I'm sure some people won't be like, what has cooking got to do with health again today? Okay, yes, I'm going to be talking about a very interesting topic, and I have a guest in the house with me that we are going to be discussing the topic together. You know that I'm always bringing in experts to talk about your health. Yes, because our health is very, very important, and we need to take our health very serious. And our health is what actually keeps us going, because without our health, without us looking healthy, there are a lot of things that's going to really go wrong in our body system. And that is why Health Plus is here for you at Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM to keep you abreast, to keep you informed, to make you know that yes, this is what is going on in the health sector. So we have the news segment where I'm going to be giving you health news to make you to give you information about what is actually going on in the news in the health sector. And I'm also going to be bringing in experts, like I do. I bring in experts and we pick a very interesting topic and we deliberate about it. So the topic we are going to be discussing today is something related to food, and the interesting topic we are going to be discussing today is foodborne illnesses. Some people will be like, what is foodborne illness again? Okay, yes, it's not only waterborne illness that we should be aware of. There's something called foodborne illness, and it actually affects a lot of people because the way and manner we treat our food, the way and manner we handle our food, we don't handle it with care. We handle it like, let me just cook it and just do everything anyhow, and just put down something, just push down something into my stomach and let me be filled and off I go again. But what we actually eat, what we actually consume actually goes a long way. It actually does a lot of things because there are some pathogens, there are some microorganisms that we are not even seeing when we are not careful with the preparation of our food. Okay, so each year 1 in 10 people get ill by eating unsafe food. When you prepare your food you are not careful about how you prepare your food, you just prepare your food like, okay, let me just go around it and just do everything proper and let me just eat something. So 1 person among 10 people gets ill by eating unsafe food. Why food safety is a shared responsibility. Individual consumers and food handlers plays a huge role in preventing foodborne disease. From cooking at home to cafeteria, for events and commercial food outlets, one wrong move can lead to hospitalization and even deaths when food is contaminated. When the food we are consuming is contaminated, definitely, and it affects something in our body and we are not even aware of what it has affected in our body system. So we are knocking on the door of ailments, of some particular ailment that we don't even know, and by the time we get to the hospital and start doing some diagnosis and every other thing, and they'll tell us that this is what is wrong, and you'll be like, when did this illness start again? So that is why we have to be very careful with handling of our food. And on today on Health Plus, we'll be discussing food hygiene, proper handling of food to prevent ailments. Like I said earlier, yes, so we'll be talking about how to handle our food properly, whether you are cooking as an individual at home, or you are having your own catering service, or you are even cooking as you are cooking outlet, or you are even you are an event planner that cooks for people. These are ways of which you can actually take care of your food, how you can actually cook in a very clean environment and also make sure that your food is healthy. Everyone in the food chain has a responsibility to ensure that the food is safe and free from contamination. These include food producer, processor, distributors, retailers, caterers, and even the consumers, which we are the final consumers. And an important part of food safety and ensuring the health and well-being of consumers. Food hygiene is the practice of handling, preparing, and storing food to prevent foodborne disease. Also, it is a set of guidelines designed to keep food safe from contamination and spoilage. Everyone involved in food handling must understand the practice of food hygiene and adhere to the strict food safety regulations. Hence, the practice of food hygiene is not only to help business improve the quality of their food products and services, but also helps people to ensure safety when they are buying from someone that is cooking outside or even when they are eating in the house. And today I'm having a senior registrar from University Teaching Hospital, UCH, Dr. Odedino. Good afternoon, sir. I hope I got the pronunciation right.
Yes, you did. It's Odedino.
Odedino. Okay, all right. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
All
I'm
right.
glad to be here.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay, the first question I'm going to be asking is, what is foodborne disease? Because some people be like, is it waterborne disease that we know now? Which one is foodborne disease again?
Okay. To simply say it, food is the stuff that we eat to grow and to have strength. Then, born is from the word to bear, which means to transmit, to move from one place to another. So, with that definition, a foodborne disease is a disease or a sickness that is transferred from one person to another through food, either by how we make the food or somehow, but the route through which the disease moves from one person or one place to another is through the food that we
Eat.
take in.
Oh.
So Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that, sir. So, what are the most common foodborne disease, foodborne ailments that are out there, and how can it be prevented? Because there are some foods that when we take them in, we just like, okay, is this food that we are taking in that we are eating? Let me just eat it, and we go. And those foods actually have some pathogens that are very harmful to the body.
That's true. So, if you are somebody that moves around, that you don't stay indoors all day, you would have had the names frequently. The most common one that seems to be the reigning one right now is cholera. Like I think last month or so there was an outbreak in Nigeria, in the southwest, southeast, in the north.
It was
So,
all over
and
everywhere.
then additionally we have typhoid, which a lot of people love to flog. So there's typhoid, there's cholera, there's dysentery, there's listeriosis, there's monocytogenesis, there's parasites too, like tapeworm, hookworm, roundworm, whipworm. A lot of these things are transmitted through the food that we
Eat, that we consume.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I asked, like, how can we prevent these foodborne illness? Like, is there a way we can actually prevent them, even though we eat this food outside? Because, like you rightly said when you were explaining, you said some people eat out because of the nature of their job. Like, okay, let me just get a fast food and just put something down my throat and just continue with my today's activities. So how can we actually, we that consume this food, how can we actually prevent these ailments that comes along with the foodborne illness?
Okay, the for prevention, normally, where as a community health expert, I would love to say that prevention, there is the primary prevention, the secondary, but just to keep it simple, when to prevent it, it means that you have to watch out to scrutinize what you eat, what, where, when, and how. For example, if you are so for food that you eat that isn't made by you, the most crucial thing is to make sure that you eat from sources that you trust, and that you have an idea of how they make their food and the level of hygiene that they put in. Then when it is food that you make by yourself, there are some tips that you need to put in place to make sure that you are not poisoning yourself or your
food
family through the
food.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we have to be very clean, and when we are preparing the food, we have to take a lot of safety measures into consideration,
including cleanliness,
yes,
including
hygiene,
storage, and different things that you need to do.
Okay, all right. So the next question I'm going to be asking is, what are the key principles of safe food handling, and how can they be applied in various settings? Because there are some areas, like, we have different ways of handling food. Some people would tell you, like, okay, I want to smoke it, I want to put it in the refrigerator, I want to roast it and the likes. So there are some areas. Let's look at the people that, like, okay, I want to keep it in the refrigerator. Let's look at the people that, like, they don't have good power supply in their environment. So how do you expect that kind of person to keep up with, okay, I want to put the food in the refrigerator, and the person is not even having an alternative of saying, okay, let me roast it and let me fry, let me do it in some other ways at which the food can actually be preserved?
Okay. So the first thing, your first question, if I understand you, was
what are the key principles for safe food handling?
Exactly. So now, looking at it broadly, the principles, there's a small acronym for them, like clean, um, and it's four steps: clean, separate, cook, and chill. So these are the four places where the food can be contaminated. So first of all, when you buy the food or source it, you need to make sure that you keep very, very clean. Both the place where you cook the food, both the place where you buy it from, everything. Then you need to separate it properly. There are some foods that by their very nature, they have things that can spread
pathogens.
Exactly, like bacteria, like viruses to the other foods, like raw fish, raw eggs, chicken, meat, and things like that. So you make sure that you don't mix those with other food that can be contaminated easily right from the shop. Like for example, you need to keep things like raw fish, raw eggs, meat, chicken away from things like your fruits, your vegetables, and things. And then when you cook the food, you need to make sure that you cook the food properly. There's a certain temperature that food needs to reach, and it should be at least boiling for foods that you should that needs to be cooked. Now there are foods that are designed to be eaten raw, but for those ones you need to make sure that you wash them properly and you make sure that they are not exposed to things like raw fish, raw meat, raw chicken. Then for refrigeration is a very, very important stage. The mere fact that being that people feel that when they put something in the fridge, the thing will not spoil, so it is good. But it is when you put something good inside the fridge and then you bring it out that you are sure that you are not
exposing the food,
posing yourself to danger. If you put water that is not clean in the fridge and you bring it out and you drink it, you can still fall sick. So you have to make sure that you refrigerate properly. Then in Nigeria, like you said, we have a lot of power problems. We, like, for example, where I live now, we have not had light for like 3 days or so. So we need to put on the generator in the evening for like 6 hours. Then we switch it off. So you need to. So refrigeration is something that you need to be very careful of. For example, now this is like a personal experience. When I finish making food, I have a tendency to just eat what I want, then take the whole
pot or the whole plate
and drop it in the fridge like that, which my wife hates it. So, but it is actually helpful if you divide the food into small dishes and you cover them properly and you put them in the fridge so that the cooling can reach everywhere and make sure that the food is at the right
temperature.
Because food might be in the fridge, but if it is not at the right temperature, it can still spoil and bacteria can still spread on it and it can cause harm. So we need to make sure that all these stages we do them properly.
Okay,
thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, so for people that like refrigerating their food, you put it in a smaller portion, if I'm to get you right.
Yes.
So you divide them into a smaller portion to
Yes.
make the cooling and even the refrigerating effects
Yes.
to get into the food, and so that the food is going to be well preserved,
yes.
and it's going to avoid pathogens or bacteria getting into it.
Yes. Additionally, it is helpful to do that when you dish the food, you put it in something that you can close.
Okay.
And then if it is something that you cannot put in a dish, that you wrap it like in nylon or
Some foil paper
Exactly.
and everything. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Okay, I'll be going on a short break now, and when we are back, Health Plus show continues right here at Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. Don't go anywhere because this segment promises to be very interesting. And don't forget, I said I'm going to be giving you some health news. So definitely, when I'm back from the short break, I'm going to be coming in with some health news. Don't go anywhere. Health Plus continues.
Our health is our wealth. It keeps us up. As one.
Fresh news, best talk, hot music, where else?
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
When you hear the word integrity, what comes to your mind?
Uprightness.
Genuity,
honesty,
rectitude.
Omoluwabi Radio, that is what we represent. Keep listening to the voice of integrity. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
Girls in my crib, 0 Snapchat, 0 Instagram posting. The vibe my dick start falling like London Bridge.
Get ready to groove to the rhythm of Africa's hottest hits on Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM.
Every Thursday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m.
As Radio 2x2 will be giving us Africa Top 10 Countdown. So get ready to dance, sing along, and discover the sounds that make Africa come alive.
Wait, Mama Comfort, where you dey go? You just dey rush.
Mama John, I won't go open my shop. I need plenty sales today. I won't go market soon.
Mama Comfort, shey you don hear about Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM? Then they do advert for businesses where we say your market go sell wara. You sef go dey happy.
You mean am? How I go reach them now?
You fit call them on 090-5339-5550. Then go explain to you wella, and their charge no dey break back.
Mama Comfort, it go better for una. Omoluwabi Radio, I dey come o.
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
In any emergency, every second counts. The Nigerian Communications Commission brings you the 112 emergency toll-free line, available nationwide, anytime, any day, absolutely free. With just 3 simple digits, 112, help is on the way. Dial from any network at any time. No charges, just immediate response. Remember, the 112 toll-free line directly connects to emergency services. If you need the police, fire service, ambulance services, Federal Road Safety Corps, Nigeria Civil Defense Corps, and more. Because when it comes to saving lives, we're all in this together at NCC. NCC, connecting Nigeria.
Your health is your wealth. Hey. It keeps you alive. Your health is your wealth. No one can deny. It keeps you alive.
Okay, yeah, welcome back from that short break. It is still Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM, and the program you are listening to is Health Plus right here at Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. And I still have my guests in the house doing justice to food hygiene and how to take care of our food to prevent some common illness that we all know. Ailments like cholera, diarrhea, and like all these ailments, we don't even, most of the times we don't really even take it serious. We'll be like, I've prepared my food and it has gotten to a particular temperature that it's supposed to get, so I'm supposed to start consuming it. But there are some things that we're not even aware of, because sometimes we even overcook food and sometimes we undercook food. So there are some things that we are supposed to even take caution of when we are preparing our meal in the house, or when we are getting food outside. When you are getting food outside, fine, you know that the nature of your job, like, okay, let me just go outside and get something to munch on and just put something into my stomach. But we also have to be very careful of the kind of environment where we are getting whatever food we are getting from. Okay, sir. So going on to the next question that I'm having here, how can cross contamination be prevented in food? Like when you are talking the other time before we went for that break, you said there are some foods that are not supposed to be placed together. For example, food like egg, putting egg alongside with putting egg alongside with some fruits, putting meat or fish with some other food, just mixing them together and doing all those. So how can we prevent this cross contamination of food?
Okay, thank you very much. So like I said earlier, to prevent cross contamination, what we practice is the principle of separation. You make and by this there are some key foods that we make sure that when we buy them or when we prepare them or store them, we do not mix them with other foods. And the key ones are raw meat, raw fish, raw chicken, poultry, seafood generally. Then we so we add the foods that are easily contaminated are the ones that we eat raw, like vegetables, salads, grains, and things.
Our fruits. What about our fruits?
Our fruits too. Very, very
important.
But generally, it is a good principle just to make sure that these foods that I listed earlier, that we treat them on their own separate way, and we do not expose them to any food at all, whether cooked or not.
Cooked.
Yes. For example, you can finish making something like rice, but then you now use a plate that had some
oil.
Exactly. Or was used to hold raw fish or raw meat to like hold the rice. Maybe you want to wash rice, have tap
boiling it.
Exactly. So
you now sieve it into a plastic
that's been used for something like that. That singular act can lead to exposure, which is what we call
cross-contamination.
Cross-contamination. Now, the reason why we want to do this is that by their very nature, some of this food grow in the sea, in the soil, where bacteria, viruses, and things live. For example, eggs are a very, very good source of
protein.
Yes, but they are also frequently exposed to salmonella. And salmonella is a type of bacteria that causes typhoid. So we don't want. So that is why, for example, nutritionists will tell you that never give children raw egg. Exactly. So, and also things that are made from raw eggs too, like ice cream and things like that. You should make sure that
it should be reduced.
Exactly. You should not give it to small children. So salmonella. Then for meat, meat meat is from
animal products.
Mouse like chicken, sheep,
goats,
and where they live, they poop, they eat from different places. Exactly. So bacteria can grow in the system richly. So until it is cooked, whether by frying, or by boiling, or it is not safe to eat. That when we don't handle them very well, it can lead to cross contamination that you mentioned. Another thing that we need to put when cooking, you should have a separate board for slicing your vegetables and another one entirely for slicing your meat
and fish.
Exactly. Then there's something called marination, where you take something like your fish soak it in a flavor.
Okay.
To make it soak in the flavor before grilling or frying or roasting. Now, it is advisable to do that inside the fridge if possible.
Okay, so that is if you are taking it into the refrigerator.
No. When you want to prepare
in large quantity
meat for grilling.
Okay.
Put the flavor, the lemon
and
everything. Then put that dish inside the fridge to stand there for the flavor to soak in. Then when you are ready for the grilling, you bring it out and you do your grilling. So that way, it makes sure that the thing is done in a controlled environment. Because every second that raw food like that is left in a nutrient-rich place, bacteria can grow and they can flourish and now cause issues for you, the cook. So try and make sure that it is done in a safe place, like inside the fridge, until you bring it
out for grilling. For grilling,
yes.
Okay.
So just to go over height,
cooked meat.
Cross
contamination.
The major thing to do is to make sure that you separate
the
raw
food
exactly
from each
raw
other. Raw
food and chicken and meat from vegetables
and
then
lives.
you use different
methods,
knives
and
different
containers
exactly
for their preservation or their rinsing and the likes.
Okay.
All right. So I want to ask, is there a particular temperature? Because there are some people that actually they overcook food most times, and there are some people that they undercook food most times. Because by the time you go and you see a particular meat and this meat is so soft, what happened? And they'll be like, it is because it has not given birth to too much of children. That is why it's very soft. Or they're like, it has given birth it has given birth to a lot of children, and that is why the skin or the meat is so tough. So and be like, and you cook and be like, this meat is not getting any soft or anything. So what is the temperature? How many minutes should a particular food be cooked for? Let's say, for example, the meat I made mention now.
Yes.
So how many minutes for all the bacteria in the meat, to be sure, okay, I'm sure that all the bacteria in the meat is dead. So I can actually now proceed to maybe I want to deep fry it, or I just want to fry it briefly.
Okay.
So how many minutes?
Okay. Actually, your question is a very, very broad one, because we have different types of food, different meats, for instance, different types of fish, for instance, and they all have different requirements actually. Yes. So for those that cook regularly, we all know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So if any food that you cook reaches that temperature, it is safe enough. Now, the number of minutes for each food, it differs actually. So for chicken in particular, I can remember that chicken needs to reach a temperature of 75 degrees centigrade for 15 minutes or something. I'm not particularly sure to be considered done. Okay. But usually for those that cook regularly, that information that they need is in the recipe. Okay. But generally for meats, like I said, there are different
types of meats and different.
But for soups, generally before you serve a soup, you should bring it to a boil. For example, when you freeze something and you bring it out of the fridge, before you eat it or serve it, it should be brought to boiling point first. It should boil, then it can cool down. Then it, so, but actually, not all foods when they are prepared are brought to that
boiling points,
yes,
and cooling points.
yes. But anything that goes into the fridge and then you bring out and is liquid is actually a rich source of
cooked, like it's very cooked.
nutrients. Yes, so it must be brought to boil and then allowed to cool and then served. So generally, I would say that everything that you cook should be allowed to boil. Yes, and thankfully we are in Nigeria here, and generally anything we prepare, we boil it thoroughly. It is true that we do overcook some things like our vegetables, like our salads and things, but we can. There's a remedy to that. You just need to make sure that food that should be lightly cooked, cooked, like your greens,
the rice, the beans.
No, your greens, your stir fry them, cabbages, exactly. You should make sure that you wash them very well before you do so, such that you start with something that is clean, and then you can just toss it lightly, then eat it like that. Since the cooking heat is not as much. Yeah, so you make sure that it is clean.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, sir. So now the next question I'm going to be asking is, what role do personal hygiene plays in cleaning practice of foodborne? Like, what has our personal hygiene got to do? Because some people be like, they can be coming from the toilets and just straight into the kitchen and they'll start cooking. And you'll be like, you're just coming from the toilet now. Why are you? Like my mom now, let me use my mom for example, because it's something that she does all the time. Whenever you are done in the toilet, she'll tell you, you've washed your hand in the toilet too. You will still wash plates before you cook, before you enter that kitchen. You must just wash something. And I'll be like, but I've washed my. She'll be like, no. There are poo in the inside your fingernails. And I'll be like, I don't understand. Like, but I'm just coming. I've washed. She'll be like, see, go and sit down. I'll cook my thing myself. I'll be like, okay. So that got me curious. Like, okay, what has personal hygiene? I've cleaned myself up and I'm coming straight. Let me come and cook. And you are saying no. So what has it got to do with food preparation?
Okay, so personal hygiene plays a very important role in food preparation, in safe food preparation. Now, the fact is that those places like the toilets, the playground, the
going outside and coming
the
in,
outdoors, like door handles, laptop,
the table,
keyboard tables. They are places where these bacteria where they rest. Ultimately, all bacteria live in other people. So wherever surface that we share with other people, we can acquire those bacteria from there, but they might not penetrate until we drop them on the food and then we put the food in our mouth. So a very, very key way to break that transmission is to make sure that before we go in to cook, or before we eat, or even when we leave those places like the toilet, the playground, we wash to wash off as much of those bacteria as we can. And then when we now, so that is one stage that we clear some. Then to make double sure that before we now go in to prepare the food, we wash, we make sure that we are not bringing those things into the room with us. Then before we eat too, we are told to wash our hands and wash everything. So like 3, you wash when you leave somewhere where bacteria might be. You wash before you start to prepare food, and then you wash when you want to eat, so that you try to
stop the flow of the bacteria
as much as possible.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so another question I'm going to be taking before I take this health news is, how can consumers protect themselves from foodborne illness when eating or taking orders outside?
Okay.
Like I said earlier, like we both said earlier, like there are some people that actually they'll just order the food and boom, the food is being delivered to them and they'll start eating. So how can they prevent the foodborne illness?
Okay. So like I said, close to the beginning of the program, it's a matter of doing your due
diligence.
Actually, you have to do some fact finding.
Checking.
Ideally, before you order from a place, you need to have gone there physically and seen how their setup is. Do they maximize cleanliness even in the dining
setting?
Yes. So there's the dining area. Yeah. There's the
cooking, the serving area,
exactly, where they cook and where they serve you. So their level of hygiene in the dining area can give you some reassurance. It's not necessarily directly linked, but at least you know that these people they make sure that they mop the floor, they do everything. Exactly. Although so ideally it's somewhere that you have been to. So but actually we have food chains like our Chicken Republic, Mega Chicken. Okay, sorry, I'm not supposed to mention any names.
Brand, yeah.
Sorry for that. But we have names that we trust, and we can imagine that they uphold a certain standard everywhere they are. So that is also one thing that we can do, ordering from places like that. Then, okay, for those of us that actually like to
eat at the local canteen.
At the local canteens, yes. Thank you for saying that. The
Mama
Puts. It is advisable that you go there yourself and you ask them to serve you the food that is hot. That one that is from the
direct from the
exactly pot. Because actually the truth is that the longer you store food, the more chances that different things can land on it, and but in summary, the thing is that you should try to make sure that you buy from a place that you've been to before, that you trust their the way they prepare the food and store it. Okay. And then you should also try to make sure that you buy from someone reputable. Now, if you have food that you are not sure where it is from, you can always microwave it if you have the
facility.
Okay. Yes. So with those, you should be able to be okay.
Okay. All right. So before we continue, I'm going to be taking this health news from the health desk that says, without community pharmacies, Nigeria's health care delivery system would have collapsed. NAFDAC Director General. The Director General, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, had said with so few medical doctors in Nigeria, the healthcare delivery service would have collapsed if not for the community pharmacists advancing patient care and pharmacy service in their respective communities. Professor Adeyeye, who spoke at the opening of the 43rd Annual International Conference of the Association of Communities Pharmacy of Nigeria, stated that with so few medical doctors in the country, community pharmacy's step is in every time to provide service in their respective community. She said that community pharmacies from study are the third largest healthcare professional group in the world after physicians and nurses, and in Nigeria they are the first points of call for primary healthcare need for a quarter and a half of the population. The DG will acknowledge community pharmacies' pivotal role in each stage of the life cycle of medical products from early development to product launch, declared that the collaboration between the pharmacist and the regulatory agency is essential for safeguarding public health and promoting the safe, effective use of medication. Another health news here says effective advocates clinical governments to improve healthcare delivery. Healthcare professionals have called for increased focus on clinical governance to address the challenges facing Nigeria healthcare sector, Speaking during the inauguration of the AGC Care Specialist Clinic in Asaba, the experts lamented that the lack of clinical governance has significantly impeded the development and effectiveness of healthcare service in the country. She said our vision is to ensure that quality healthcare should not be the exclusive preserve of only a few. And going on, another question I'm going to be asking my guest right here is what are some emerging trends or concerns in food safety, and how can we stay ahead of them? What are some emerging trends or concerns in food safety, and how can we stay ahead of them?
Okay, so emerging trends and concerns in food safety. Well, primarily there's the trending news right now are the outbreaks that keep happening from time to time. For example, in earlier in June, in May and June this year, we had the cholera outbreak.
Yes.
It was majorly in some northern states. It was focused in some northern states in Nigeria, but there was also a significant epicenter in Lagos. Yes, I think they had more than.
It started from Lagos.
It started from Lagos and spread around. We also had a few in Ibadan, but not much, thankfully. So that is a key thing to note. Then also, so that is for us in the let's say the global south. When I say the global south, I mean the less developed parts of the world. So what we are concerned about is epidemics and things like that, outbreaks of things like typhoid, cholera, food poisoning and things like that. Then in the more developed parts of the world, what they are concerned about actually is a GMO, the spread of a genetically modified food. Food from crops that have been designed, influenced their genes to be bigger, and so there's this
that they've used fertilizers to grow. And
exactly. So there's this fear that it might be dangerous, it might cause cancer, it might cause this. Well, the research is still ongoing to make sure that this is not harmful. But actually here, for example, in Nigeria, we don't have a choice whether fertilizer has been used or not.
No fertilizer.
Food is so expensive that we just have to take what we can do and use it. So we don't have that issue right now. But so those are the key trending issues right now. Then of course, food safety also. The fact that food is in such short supply and it's expensive due to the herdsmen, the herdsmen issues. So the seasons food is not as plenty as it should be. So people might not take their time to preserve food the right way, and they might do sharp practices
and
exactly,
just want to make sure that
and then
is done.
to sell it. So there are some foods that should not be released that may be released, and it might be poisonous. Exactly. If we remember in maybe the early 2000s, I hope I'm not sounding like an old man here. There was a time when there was this rumor that there was some beans released that was
poisonous.
Exactly.
That was killing people.
So we have not had any issue like that currently or in the last few years. But when food is this expensive, it can, such things can happen. So, but the major two are the epidemics of cholera outbreaks and things like that. Yes.
So now I'm going to be asking a question. What can food safety education, or let me say, how can food safety education and training be effectively implemented in various settings? Because everybody has their own settings, and when you get to a particular place, they'll tell you, this is how we do here, or this is how we prepare our food, this is how we do this is how we do that. So how can food safety education, how can it be effectively implemented? Like, okay, this is how you are supposed to do it, this is how you are supposed to go about the preparation of this particular food, this is how you're supposed to go about the preparation of this particular food.
Okay, so food safety education, there are many authorities that we can say are responsible for it in a way. Statutorily, there is a part of the environmental health services under the Ministry of Environment in each state that goes around to make sure that
each environment is clean, and they are preparing it in a very good serene environment.
Exactly. Okay. For example, if you build a house and you release your drainage on the road, they are supposed to come write you a
letter
notice that within so time, if you do not take charge of this, we are going to lock up your house or to buy your road, and then you will have to pay a fine. So, but that ministry also has the supervision of markets and food places under their jurisdiction too. So joints, eateries, they are supposed to inspect all of them and make sure that they comply. One of the things they're supposed to make sure they do is that they train their staff every year on how to handle food properly. One of the things they are supposed to do is to make sure that their staff undergo a food handlers test. A yearly test. Okay. I believe it is done once or twice a year, depending on the category and the number of staff that they have. And that is to make sure that they are free of things that can spread to the clients through their handling of the food. Things like typhoid fever, things like cholera, and so on. Another thing they are supposed to do is to inspect packaging and things like that to make sure that those things. But as we know in Nigeria, some parts of the civil service, they don't have enough manpower, yes, to do everything that they need to do. So it might be hard for them to
go out and check.
Exactly, and check every single one. They can check the major people, the big brands, but they can't check everything down to them. So ultimately, it is part of the responsibility of we that are enlightened, either from a
private, from the big brands,
exactly,
or from the small
programs like this, to make sure that we insist on the service that is due to us. Then another thing, media houses too, like this one. Another, they also contribute a large
way to
exactly, to making sure that the public knows about how to handle food properly and what to do. So those are the ways that we get it done in Nigeria here. There is still a lot to do, still a lot that we are not doing as well as we should, but we are
still coming up, and we are definitely going to get there.
Amen.
All right. Okay, so thank you very much for coming on the show, sir. I really do appreciate your time. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be wrapping up on today's show right here on Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. I think you've learned one or two things on how to handle your food, on how to prepare your food. Like my guest rightly said, he said once your liquid is on the boiling points, like 100 degrees Celsius, that is the normal degree for any boiling. So once your liquid is on the boiling point and it cools down, definitely you can consume it. And each and every food has its own degree of the minutes that you are going to use to boil it, to make sure that all the bacteria or whatever